wherever you may be watching this transmission across the Commonwealth. It is I, Mike Martins. Welcome to another very special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. We are on episode 200. Hold on, let me get my mouse here to check. 228 episodes later, connecting the dots across the Commonwealth and understanding the affordability issues in housing and what's happening with housing, and trying to educate first-time homebuyers, checking cash flows, checking their TDSs, making sure they're getting into the right deal, making sure they know what they're up to and they know what they're signing. And today I got a very, very, very important guest on the show. I'm going to introduce him in a few seconds here. We got people tuning in right now. We're getting our other chats going right now. We're multi-streaming everywhere else. I can't read in Russian, but there's one going off in Russian here on the side. Okay, guys, we got, let's get into the channel plugs first. Guys, don't forget to, let me open this up real quick so you guys don't forget. Okay, let's go into article scan here. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, we got Mike. Don't forget to join us for our upcoming live show. And this live show here, this is the Mike in the Night, no more physical ID. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for that. And next week, Trends in the Housing Market, we have Steve Soretsky coming on from Vancouver to explain to us what's happening in those markets. And don't forget, Mike in the Night Halloween special, where you're going to call in for 15 minutes and tell us your scariest story. All right, everyone's starting to tune in on YouTube. Why is YouTube so slow to get people on? Everywhere else is so fast. Okay, and we got, all right, guys, we got this gentleman right here. He's waiting in the green room right now. And his name is Jeb Smith, and he's got a really good channel, and he is a broker, and he understands anything and everything real estate in the state of California. So he's going to answer a lot of our questions that we have, and he's going to obviously, you know, if people are looking to move somewhere from the Commonwealth to the United States, because that's been a big trend lately. And I'm going to give you a link right now and put it in the live chat here. And I'm going to put it in the live chat on Twitch, and I'm going to put it in the live chat on these other platforms we have here. So don't forget, respectfully, to go over and subscribe to Jeb Smith. His latest videos are Housing Market Update. That's a really good video. I caught it about a day ago. Forbearance Update, that's a very important one. Answering questions on real estate live. He did a live stream, which he did really well on. And then housing market, there's one right here. Housing is not set to crash, not likely. So we're gonna pick his brain on this right now, and let me just open the screen with him here. Sorry guys, this is a one-man crew here. All right guys, here we go. It is Jeb Smith from California. Now, you're going to ease a lot of our minds by telling us what's going on down there, and we already have a lot of people commenting in the comment section. Okay, guys, this is Mr. Jeb Smith, and thank you, Jeb. I want to thank you very much for coming on, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to real estate agents, mortgage, blah, 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 blah. They're always being put in, they're always being filed with mechanics and, you know, like just bad PR. And you know what? I saw your videos. You are truly educating the viewers. You're truly educating your clients. You're truly educating people and understanding what it is they need to know. And when I saw that, you are one of the good guys. You know, there's always good mortgage brokers out there that do things by the book and actually underwrite their deals and make sure they're setting the right example and setting the customer with a product they don't have to worry about later. And you educate the masses, and that's good. And I like that. So that's Jeb Smith. So Jeb, you okay, buddy? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to chat and, you know, just educate, I guess, if you will.
Yes.
That's always been the goal with the channel, is to provide education. It's not meant to be salesy, and, you know, just want to provide insight from somebody that's been doing this 20 years. I've been through a couple of cycles, and somebody that's actually out in the, you know, selling real estate. I'm not a large team. I mean, I have boots on the ground. I'm talking to buyers, sellers every day. So, you know, I appreciate the opportunity to share that and chat with your viewers.
So just out of the box, give us an update just on the California housing market. Where's it going right now?
So, you know, I realize you're in Canada. depending on where your viewers are, may depict what real estate market they're looking at. But California is a lot like the rest of the United States at the moment, and what I mean by that is we have very low inventory, very high buyer demand, and it's being driven by low interest rates. So you've got properties in Southern California. In my market, I'm in Orange County, so we're just south of LA, just north of San Diego. We're about 3.3 million people in all of Orange County. I think as a whole right now, we have about 4,100 active properties listed in all of Orange County. The lowest level of inventory we've seen since, I think, 2014. And with that said, what you have is you have a wide range of properties ranging from small condos to multi-million dollar luxury homes, valued $50-60 million, depending on where they're located. So a big wide range of property. So in that 4,000, you've got, a lot of property in all spectrums. But what you don't have is a lot of affordable housing. And that's really creating this dynamic that we're seeing, and we'll likely talk about with people moving out of state and some other things. But as a whole, the market remains strong, right? Properties that are priced correctly, fair market value, if you will, are selling quickly in a couple of days in some cases, and usually selling at or above the listing price with multiple offers. I mean, I can give you several examples of deals that I've done in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or even offers I put in where we didn't get accepted. That just shows you how incredibly strong the housing market is.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the forbearance. Forbearance is running out, furlough, and it's just basically taking out the time that you didn't pay and adding it to your amortization at the end of the term, and basically that's what it is. But how many people are going to be running out of furlough or forbearance and not have the income to? Because I heard 6.5 or 8 million people have defaulted on their mortgage payment recently across America.
Yeah. So, here's the deal with a lot of that data. Clearly it's skewed for headlines, at least in my opinion. Right. So if you take CoreLogic's latest report, I think that came out October 13th, I believe when it was. So that was 7 days ago, a week ago. Mm-hmm. And if you read the headlines, it makes it sound like the world's going to end. You've got all these mortgage delinquencies, all this stuff. But if you go down and read, the bottom of the report where they reference the data, it says that they've lumped in all of the people that are currently in forbearance. So all of those people that have been allowed to miss mortgage payments are lumped into those numbers. And it also goes on to read something along the lines of even people that aren't being reported as delinquent from their lender or from their servicer are still included in those numbers. So you've got a large pool of people that are clearly taking forbearance. So these people are technically behind on their mortgage payments, but they've been allowed to do that as part of the CARES Act that was granted back in March, in the United States. And a lot of people have taken advantage of that. And that you can take that word, use it how you want. One way would be that they've taken advantage because they're not able to make their payments and they're clearly in need of help. And so they've, pushed those payments off for the foreseeable future. And the CARES Act, if you had a federally backed loan, allowed you to miss payments up to 1 year. So that would have started in March of last year. So if those people have a federally backed loan, they took the full year, they in theory have until March of next year. But if you use that advantage in another way, you can say that people took advantage of the system. A lot of people that were able to make their mortgage payments clearly saw an opportunity to take their mortgage payment. And the reason I can say this is because, on my channel, I have people telling me this, that they're telling me that they skipped their mortgage payments because they wanted to save the cash to pay off credit cards, to pay off debt, to have some sort of savings account that they weren't able to have before, because there's literally no repercussions to doing it. And you even had people like Meet Kevin, for example. I mean, I think we all are aware of him on YouTube now, and he's basically telling people, hey, look, take advantage of the system, use the full year. And so with that said, to answer your question, that was a long way of getting here, but to answer your question, depending on when you took it, you in theory have up to a year if you have a federally backed loan. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of next year. If I took it, 1 July of 2022, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I could go till June of 2023. So if I took it in June, I co
last month. I have until September of next year. So you've got, a lot of people that are going to be coming to the end of their forbearance at different times.
Right.
But if you look at the latest forbearance numbers, which I'm sure you have, those numbers, the FHA and VA are kind of steadily going sideways and rising in some cases. Whereas your conventional loans, less people are in forbearance. So the forbearance numbers as a whole are getting less, and the percentage of people coming out of forbearance and continuing to make their payments are very, very high. I don't remember the actual statistics, but I did it in a video where I broke those numbers down. I think it was the video that you referenced a moment ago, where I said housing crash is not likely. And that's because a lot of these people coming out of forbearance are now in a position to make their payments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that going to continue forever? I don't know. But, what I do know is that there's a very good chance there will be additional stimulus here in America that's going to either provide a check to people or kick the can, if you will, further down the road with regards to moratoriums and some other things. And at the same time, it takes a very long time in America to foreclose on a property, especially if somebody wants to fight it. So, if somebody is going through foreclosure, if these people come in default for whatever reason and don't have the equity, because a lot of them, if I don't know the exact numbers again, because I wasn't sure of the questions, but a lot of people have equity right now. So if they're in a position where they're no longer able to make their payments, they could likely sell their property. Maybe they won't have as much profit as they would have prior to this, but they're in a position to sell their property and walk away and not really get affected by foreclosure.
Right.
But there are people clearly that will not take forbearance because, one, they might not have known about it, they didn't think they qualified for it, whatever the reason is. And those people could end up foreclosing, and that there will be a percentage of those. But I'm a firm believer that because inventory is so low and buyer demand is so high, and we've already been told by the Fed that the rates are essentially, while it's the Fed funds rate, it's going to stay low through 2023. That's essentially 3 years from now. So as the Fed funds rate stays low, interest rates are likely to stay low as well. And that is going to continue to drive the housing market. And I believe that any foreclosures that are a result of anything going on when the moratorium is lifted, those are going to trickle out, because it's going to take the courts a while to go through these. It's going to take some time. I mean, there's going to be a lot of litigation.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of work, lots of paperwork. They got to get the sheriff involved. There's a lot of stuff, and it could take anywhere from up to 200 days to get someone out of a house. So
easily, I sold a lot of foreclosures from 2009 till 2013 because I had accounts with different banks and what have you, and it can be a process. I mean, some of these people are in the house for 2 years without making payments. So that's a whole different scenario. But, what I've been talking about with the housing market is that, back in the last crash, 2007, 2008, you had Dodd-Frank put restrictions on home builders. Mm-hmm. So they basically restricted home builders from building so many properties because that was part of the problem that happened back then. There was oversupply of housing. And so there were restrictions put on housing. Well, unfortunately, that created another problem, right? The pendulum swung to the other side. And now you have not enough housing. And people think that the housing shortage was created during the pandemic. And the reality is it was created 3, 4, 5 years ago. Actually, it started being created in like 2012. It's just continually gotten worse. And now what we've seen is, a real anemic supply of homes, right? There's just not a lot out there. And you have the largest pool of buyers ever in the history of real estate getting ready to start buying homes and coming into the market. Mm-hmm. And those are the millennial buyers. Now, a lot of people can say that, they're not going to have the down payment. The affordability is going to be an issue. But that's why, in my opinion, you're starting to see that exodus, right? You're starting to see the exodus from the major metropolitan cities.
Housing migrants.
Absolutely. Housing migrants, right? So people are leaving states like California, states like Washington Washington, Seattle area, mm-hmm. San Francisco, all these major cities because of affordability, for one, taxes, being another, especially here in California. We've got other issues here in California with a Democratic majority in the state. And this isn't a political comment. This is fact. Whether you're Republican or a Democrat, you have one party basically making all the decisions in the state of California. There's no balance.
Right.
And when you don't have balance, that creates issues. And we're starting to see those issues now. And you're starting to see a lot of the wealthy people, they'll keep a home in California. They're not going to sell their home, and maybe they do, but they're going to keep something here, but they're going to go make their primary in another state. Graham Stephan went to Vegas. You've got all of these people, Joe Rogan, Texas, all of these people leaving because it costs so much to live here. And in addition to that, you've got the decentralization of work, if you will, or just people in general, their lives have been decentralized and they no longer have to necessarily work in LA, right? If your job might be in LA, but now you're in a position to work from Arizona, work from Texas, work from wherever. And so you're seeing a lot of migration out of the state.
Most people could easily take a cut in pay and do something a little less stressful, and because they're being taxed a lot less.
Absolutely. No, it's insane. I mean, I think it's like 13 something % here. I mean, and it could go up. That's
a blessing. Insane. You should know what we could pay in Canada. Oh my God. That's a blessing. 13%. Bring it on to me. I'll pay it. But unfortunately, in Canada we were discussing just before the show, guys. Jeb, we had a minute and a half at the beginning of the show where we didn't have your audio for some reason.
Okay.
And then your audio kicked in. So we missed about a minute at the beginning. I'm not sure what part we missed. I think I asked you if you were doing okay.
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah,
have a sip of water there. Have something to drink there. You have a sip of water. Drink some water. Here, I got my water here too. Okay. We have a question here from Patrick O'Connell, who lives in Dublin, Ireland, is thinking to move to California in Q1 or Q2 of 2021. He wants to know if prices will be up or down.
I think you'll see prices continually going sideways to up. In our market, for example, California, I can't speak for all of California. I'm in Southern California, but I'm going to kind of lump us into one here because the housing market tends to move in cycles. But, typically we have a very strong spring market in California. It kind of runs into summer, and fall it starts to slow down, as, most real estate markets do, I believe, right? And so what you have in California is we missed the spring market, right? So the summer became our spring. The fall is essentially becoming our summer. But I do believe that you're going to see less and less inventory start to come to the market, even less than we've seen, because of the holidays, which is normal. But now you have this other factor, right? You have COVID playing a part in it, right? So if COVID, whether somebody has it or not, if people might not want people in their homes because they think that they might have COVID during the holidays, or, in addition to the flu or what have you. So you've got, all of these things kind of playing a part. And I think you're going to see less supply come to the market, but rates aren't going to go anywhere, right? I think we know that. And so as rates stay low, buyer demand is going to still be there because people are still looking for the right house. Inventory is going to become less. And so you're going to have more people vying for the properties that do come to the market. And so traditionally how our market moves here in Southern California is right after the Super Bowl or so. So that's usually the first weekend in February. Our market starts to pick up. That becomes our spring market.
It starts to get hot.
Exactly.
And then it goes nuts.
And it gets hotter as we move through May and June. And summer gets a lot of the credit normally because everything closes in June, July, August, but those properties went into escrow in, March, April, May, right? And they just closing 30, 60, 90 days later. And that's why the summer gets the credit. But to answer his question, I don't foresee the market changing very much, regardless of presidency or what have you. It's going to take a while if there is a change in presidency, for that to affect housing, I think, on the level that people are thinking is going to happen. And even then, I don't think you're going to see anything crazy happen, because to me, it comes down to fundamentals, supply and demand. If you have not a lot of supply, you have high demand, people can, the people that have the supply can kind of dictate how the process goes until those buyers are no longer willing to go along with that. And so I think you'll see a housing market in 2021 look a lot like 2020, regardless of the forbearance and all of that stuff.
Okay, we got Melanie from Sydney, Australia. She wants to ask, is there a law? Is California like big cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco? Are they similar to Sydney and Melbourne, where there's a lot of foreign investing and a lot of empty vacant properties?
I can't speak for San Francisco. I can speak more on LA. I would say that prior to probably 2 years ago or so, we used to see foreign money in the China, a lot of Chinese money. I think the government in China has put kind of a hold on that, so we're not seeing nearly as much of it here in the United States as we did. We're still seeing a lot of cash offers, though. There's a lot of Vietnamese buyers here in Southern California.
Okay.
A lot of Asian buyers, just in general, regardless of where they are from. And so, yes, you see that foreign money. Outside of that, not so much here in Southern California, at least what I see. But I'm not really seeing the vacant properties so much. For a while, we did have a big demographic of Asian buyers buying properties, keeping them vacant for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that so much now. A lot of those properties are now being rented, and or owner occupied at this time. So I can't. It's hard for me to answer that question exactly because I 100% don't know. But for me, as someone that's helping buyers and sellers, I'm not nearly seeing as much of that investor money as I did. Mm-hmm. But if you look at some of the reports that have come out in some of the the latest housing statistics from the California Association of Realtors or the National Association of Realtors, they're referencing investment money in there, and it looks a lot like it did last year. I mean, we're not seeing this huge influx, and we're not seeing this big pullback of investors. It's pretty similar to what we've seen.
Okay. Let me give you one of my questions. Okay, median home value is sitting at $586,000 in California, roughly.
$715.
Why do I got 586 across California?
No, 715 as of the latest report.
Oh.
In the state of California. And I just talked about that in one of the last videos I did.
Okay,
I don't
was
remember
seeing
which one it was.
586. I guess
that might be condos.
Probably, okay.
But 715 is the new median home price.
Okay.
And that's up.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this one. This is actually an important one. You're not seeing any shadow flipping or shadow selling there, are you?
No, not really.
Okay, because in Canada, it's a big business here. Where you have this corporate entity, right, that buys a property and sells it to another corporate entity, but the same person owns both corporate entities, and they're selling it back and forth, and they launder $40-50 million.
Got it.
So you don't see shadow selling, do you?
No, I haven't personally. I mean, again, a lot of the properties that are coming back on the market. I mean, a lot of the properties that are coming on the market are buyers now that have, the equity that they've gained over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years,
okay,
and now they're in a position to buy that up-leg property. Maybe they started out in a condo at $500,000 that's now worth $800, or a small house that was worth $500 at some point. Now it's worth $8 or $9. Now they're able to take that equity, buy something bigger. But no, I'm not seeing any shadow inventory selling back and forth to create this bubble, if you will.
Because in Canada, that's a huge sport. That's a huge sport in Canada and Australia and New Zealand and all kinds of places. So, so that we could scratch off that question off the list because somebody else messaged me a question that basically answered it right there. Mass exodus. Okay, we're seeing one of the most major causes of people leaving the state of California is because of housing affordability. And has this affected you personally? I mean, you still have high school friends that still live in California, or did everyone?
So I'm from North Carolina originally.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
I don't have the kids that I went to school with, but my wife's from California, right? Mm-hmm. And so she has friends that are buying locally, and then some that are moving out of state. So, again, I can speak from experience because I have, friends that have kids that have down payments that can't afford to live here. And so now they're talking about purchasing something out of state now because they're in a position where they can work remotely. So now people are actually considering, these people would have never considered leaving California at 8 months ago, 9 months ago, because their work was based here. They had a comfortable life, what have you. But now that they are in a position to work from anywhere, because a lot of companies are allowing that from employees and saying that they're not going to go back to that environment, people are exiting and going to more affordable areas. I mean, I would tell you on average, I sell about 30 homes a year. Not crazy impressive by any means, but I would say out of that, 20% of those people, so 6 people, are move out of state every single year. It's been like that for forever. But this year, it's more and more common. You have more and more people looking to get out of California. And I would say the affordability is part of the problem. But the other part of the problem that I mentioned is the majority in the state that's, pushing an agenda, if you will. And what I mean by that is we could vote on something this year, right, in this election, and it doesn't pass, a proposition, if you will. And we'll see it on the ballot again in 2 years.
Hold on a second. I got a question here. It might talk about this proposition you're talking about.
Yep.
We have Jerome. Jerome from South Africa says, my aunt lives in California. She's a bit older, and she wants to know how something Prop 15?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what it is? Yeah, he's asking about that. You're talking about it at the same time.
Yeah.
So this is for Jerome in South Africa. Go ahead.
So basically, the state of California, we have something called Proposition 13.
Yes.
This was enacted in 1978 that basically allowed homeowners, when you buy a property, for the tax basis to be at 1% of the purchase price, and it can't go up more than 2% per year forever, right? So what happens is you have people that bought houses. I'm giving you the long definition of this, by the way, but you have people that bought houses a long time ago. A lot of the elderly now, the baby boomers, if you will, that bought houses for $50,000, $100,000. They still own them today. The taxes are based off that $50,000 or $100,000. And so the tax basis is very, very low. And the reason it was created is to give some, as people retire, to give somebody an idea of a set number that they would have to be able to pay, so that taxes don't continually just drive up and drive people out of property, right? That's part of the reason that the Prop 13 was created. Well, what you have is now you have, and that was on commercial property. That was on everything. Any property in the state of California worked like that. Well, Proposition 15 basically does a split roll on the taxes. And what I mean by that is the way they're doing it now is if you have a commercial property and it's valued over $3 million, then if this proposition passes, they will now tax those properties at current market value.
Ooh.
So you could have bought a property. Hypothetically, you were a savvy investor. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you just stumbled upon a property however many years ago. You bought a property, it was worth $100,000. Now it's worth $5 million. Maybe that's your retirement. Maybe that income off that property is how you live every month. The state of California now wants to say, you know what? Those taxes that you used to pay on that are no longer accurate. We're going to, sorry, my son just walked in.
That's okay. That's fine.
Are going to be taxed at $5 million. So what do you think happens to the business that is renting that? Because in California, a lot of these leases are triple net leases. So the tenant pays the utilities, the tenant pays the taxes, the tenant pays all of this stuff. So now if I'm the tenant of that property, my taxes just skyrocketed. Where do you think the cost goes? I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to move my business out of state, which is probably the better decision to be quite frank, or I'm going to charge the consumer more. So now your mechanic shop
passing down the cost.
Absolutely. I used to do whatever work for X cost. Now that's going to go up 200% because I've got to pay this.
And then they pass it on. They pass it on to the customers.
Absolutely. And so it's just another way. And then again, I could get deep into this, and because I'm passionate about this because I don't believe in it. But I can see it in some cases. You've got huge corporations, Disneyland, and some of these other ones that have huge tax breaks, right? And so in some cases, I get it. You want to make taxes on corporations that are basically making a lot of money, not paying a lot of taxes. That's one thing. but the majority of people that own a $3 million business probably aren't super wealthy people.
No.
I mean, everybody thinks just because you own an investment property or you own, a business that's worth X, that you must just be, bringing in the dough. That's not always the case. In some cases it is, but no, that's, maybe somebody just bought well and has owned a property for a long period of time. And so, it's just one of those things. And then they pass it off as it's going to benefit schools and all of these other things. But if you actually read the verbiage on it, 50% of that goes to pay for other stuff. And it's just a very small percentage of actually what's being generated out of that is actually going to go to what they say it is.
And it's like, I looked at the books of some corporate companies and kind of underwriting a few deals back in my day. And I would look at some of these companies and they would scrounge like these multi-million, I'm talking 5, 6, $22 million companies. They would scrounge and have a tough time to raise $5,000.
No,
you would think, oh, well, you got this payroll, you got that, you have a HR, you have all this, and they have to scrounge just to scrape together $5,000. And that's how tough it is. That's how people are right to the wire. And Jeb, property, like for example, let's say on commercial property, I'm going to give you a little bit of Toronto story. An average restaurant, I could show you link you the article sometime, $170,000 a year in property tax.
Wow.
If you look at the restaurant and you're going to take a double look at it because you're not going to believe it. For that, $170,000 property tax for that. And that's what's happening right now across the Commonwealth. In Australia, it's a little bit different. They have stamp duty. So they pay the taxes up front on the property. So it's a little bit of a different scenario, but it's getting out of control right across the board. And a lot of economies, like Australian economy, is based, a small percentage of it is actually based off of stamp duty. The more houses, you see what I'm saying? So that's what they're trying to do to fill their coffers. But it ain't working out in the long run. So, okay, now, empty house, vacant home tax. California was a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, they were looking at implementing a vacant home tax.
So I think that's per city, right? So I've heard about it in San Francisco. I've heard about it in LA. It was going to be on the ballot for this November. I'm in Orange County, so we didn't have anything like that. There's nothing on the ballot. I don't know. I know in LA it was going to cost them, I don't know what it was, $10 million, $15 million just to get it on the ballot. Whew. So I don't know if it ever made it on. I haven't heard of it, so I've got to think that it's not on the ballot right now. Okay. In San Francisco, it might be. So down in Southern California, it's not an issue. And the idea is that if you end up taxing these vacant homes, people are going to end up selling them. Mm-hmm. Then you're not going to get the tax. So I don't know how it really benefits anyone, but that's a whole different conversation.
I got somebody here from San Francisco asking who's going to win. Who are the winners or losers when it comes to property tax measure Proposition 19?
19 is about, let me think here. It's with wildfire victims, people over 55 being able to move out of some of these areas into, basically it's a transfer of property tax from one area to another. It's hard to say. Any new initiatives like this that change the way taxes are currently done on real estate, I'm against, because right now basically what it is it's a run on Proposition 13 to some extent. And I read it and tried to read the opposing side as well as, the argument for it. And it didn't make enough sense to me. So I can't talk in great detail, but I can tell you I didn't vote for it because it would have changed the property tax dynamic in some form or fashion. And the way it works right now is effective for most home buyers. So it wouldn't have lessened property taxes if that's, the question.
Okay. That's somebody from Northern California was asking that question. So one thing we covered here on Trends in the Housing Market, and this is a few months back. This is this is before COVID hit. We were talking, we got an article that was very disturbing, and then we kind of cross-referenced this with the LA Times, and we kind of found it touching through across America. And the article read basically, for every one homeless person in LA County, there is 4 vacant properties. And when I read that, I actually was at awe with it. And this was live. We were live, and then we started finding other articles to like with the people watching live. People were sending me links in the comments to basically add to it. That is actually very big. And then we had a Better Dwelling article of vacant home prices across the English-speaking world, and Australia, Vancouver, your typical suspects, Toronto, and California came in with Los Angeles, 144,000 empty dwellings. Okay, followed by and New York was the highest with 290,000 empty dwellings. That is phenomenal. Can you maybe comment on that a bit, or like, what do you know about that? Because that's huge.
Honestly, like not enough to make an argument for it or against it. I mean, I'm not aware of it. Okay. What I can tell you is that, for you said 5 to every 1 homeless in LA or something along those lines. I mean, that would be an incredible amount of property because there's a incredible amount of homeless.
Better Dwelling recorded 114,000 empty dwellings in LA. And San Francisco had 58,000. And they were breaking it down by emptiness because it's a big deal for us in Canada, vacant properties, because we don't have a lot of properties and a majority of our properties are vacant, and the Canadians and the Australians, and we're all screwed because we have nowhere to go, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a possibility. I guess how are they getting that data, right? Is it people because of Airbnb, short-term rentals?
They got that data. Jeb, they got the data from hookups. So they took the properties that weren't hooked up either to cable, so they took it up. They took it without hookups. So they're not taking it from the total, what they know that's not hooked up to the grid.
Gotcha. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be the guy to answer. But what I will do is I will try to find the information and shoot you something so that you can comment it on a future video.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll put a little dialogue with it. Yeah, because it's not something that I'm familiar with here in Orange County. I don't go up into LA County to sell real estate. It's not my area. So yeah, unfortunately can't help you much there.
Okay. We got, Marissa from, Reykjavik, Iceland. She wants to know if you want to comment on the tent cities and Venice Beach situation, homelessness. What can you tell us, Jeb, about that?
It's bad. There's a huge, homeless population up there, and it's continuing to get worse. And I don't know that the city is. I say the city. I'm talking about LA as a whole, not specific little suburbs of the city, but it is doing much about it. And quite frankly, I don't know what how much they can do about it. There's always money raised for the homeless, and all that money gets spent on something, but yet the problem continues to get worse. So yeah, it's a real problem. You see people commenting about it, you see it, that's a real thing. And, there are tent cities, they have these. We had them here in Orange County, and we still do, but we had a really big one near Angel Stadium where they play baseball in Anaheim it was, you would drive down the freeway and this thing would be a couple miles long. And they ended up cleaning that up. You can use cleanup however you want, but they ended up not allowing that. And they've tried to work on creating homeless shelters in various cities. But as you can imagine, cities are fighting it because, once you bring that to a city, depending on where you bring it, it could essentially bring down home values. It can bring down values of businesses depending on where it's located in the city. So you got a lot of people fighting it, and the problem's continuing to get worse. So it's a real deal. I don't know the right answer on how to solve it.
Yeah, no. It's a very tough situation, especially with Jeb. Do you know offhand? Get some water. Drink some water.
No, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, I gotta wet my beak here. Let me ask you. How many layers of government do you have there in LA? Because I know in Chicago, I was looking into Chicago, Illinois. They got 4 layers of government. How many layers of government do you guys have there? Because the more layers, the more pensions, and the more taxpayers are on the hook.
Honestly, again, don't know the answer.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Yeah. No problem.
Don't know the answer to it, but I can tell you that there's a lot of pensions, a lot of money being paid for city jobs, city officials, and
I wanted to ask you, as a broker and understanding the real estate market there in California, have you had to turn down a lot of people that just don't qualify?
Actually, no.
Okay.
You know, I would tell you that I don't know the numbers, but I would the majority of people that reach out to me, my business is almost 100% relational. I'm fortunate in that regard to have, I'm in contact with a lot of my past clients, friends, family on a regular basis. They're my bread and butter. I focus my business around these people, provide good service in the return that, well, because I want to, but in the return that I hope that my business continues to flourish by providing value to clients and so on and so forth. And recently, when I started doing YouTube, I'm starting to get a little more business now off of YouTube, just because it's getting some traction. But even then, a good majority of the people that I have conversations with qualify.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're and if they don't qualify, maybe they don't qualify for what it is they were looking for, but they can qualify for something less or get in a position where they can actually buy something. But I'm not having a lot of conversations where, I refer people to my lender or what have you, where he's telling me, no, these, their credit is low or their income isn't there. I mean, a lot of these conversations I'm having up front, I'm kind of getting a feel of what they're trying to accomplish, how much down payment they have. And I, as a previous mortgage broker, somebody that did loans for over 10 years, I understand that side of the business, and I can kind of walk people through a potential scenario and have that conversation. But no, I'm not, we're not seeing a lot of people that don't qualify at the moment. I mean, the biggest thing we're seeing is affordability, people not being able to get into what they thought they might be able to afford, and or being qualified for a certain amount and out looking at property and really, what was a very reasonable price point a year and a half, 2 years ago, you could have found multiple properties in it. Now you can't find any. And if you do, you're bidding against however many other people to try to get it. It's very, very difficult right now with, I don't know what you have in Canada, but FHA loans here in
those are
States.
insured mortgages. We have a CMHC here in Canada for insured mortgages, and right now they're on the hook. Oh man, to the lenders, billions, and it's so bad here, Jeb, that you know those condo towers.
Yep.
Okay. The average condo tower, no insurance company wants to touch it. When you're looking at $800,000, $700,000 a condo, and you got 300 units, I don't know a single insurance company that would want it. So now there's a lot of condos up here that no companies want to touch because they're just, you multiply 700,000, 800,000 by 300. That's a lot of cake to cover.
No, absolutely.
And a lot of companies.
And so, with those mortgages, like for example, here in the United States, they're FHA and which allows a lower down payment. Right. And so what we're seeing is a lot of those buyers are being priced out of areas because they're up against property buyers that have larger down payments and are able to bid much higher than the asking price because they can use some of whatever their down payment was to cover the difference or what have you. And so and back in the day with those first-time home buyers, and FHA isn't limited to first-time home buyers, but a lot of first-time home buyers end up using FHA because of the minimal down payment. But what we're seeing is that those buyers are having to move to other areas or not purchase just because we can't get them into property. And a couple of years ago, we could ask for closing costs for these buyers. We could build in the closing costs to the purchase agreement or ask the seller to cover them. In this market being as competitive as it is, nobody wants, and sellers don't want to do that, especially if they have another offer that it seems like a stronger offer. Those offers are kind of just being shrugged, pushed to the side. So that's becoming a problem. The people with lower down payments not being able to get into property.
We got Brian Maxwell asking from New Zealand. Do you guys have bidding wars like here?
Absolutely.
In Auckland? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. I mean, in fact, I've got a property that representing the buyer at the moment, and the purchase price on the property was $1,025,000. And first look at the comps, it looks like $1,025,000 property. They ended up with 7 or 8 offers on the property. We were one of the 7 or 8. We ended up getting the property at $1,001,000. So we paid $75,000 over the asking price My buyers waived their appraisal contingency in that case. And we relooked at the comps before they waived the appraisal contingency, and it was not my recommendation, just so you know. I'm not telling people to waive their appraisal contingency. But we looked at the comps, and I said, you can justify this price. I mean, there are certain comps that make it work. And the appraisal came in. And so we paid $75,000 more than the asking price. We were up against multiple offers, and this went back and forth for a number of days and encounters and what have you. That's just one example. I would tell you, out of the last 7 to 8 offers that I've put in, whether they were accepted and or not accepted, every single one of those was a multiple offer situation where we were having, where we would come back to either ask to pay a certain price or ask for our highest and best offer, at which point, we were bidding against other people. So yeah, it's a problem right now just because of the lack of available homes. And especially when something comes on the market, it goes quick. And this is, a lot of people that are watching might think that this is only in the lower price points. I mean, these are offers that I put in anywhere from 900,000 to 1.5 million. And while that's, not some crazy number for most markets, 1.5 million here is a reasonable size property. And so,
that buys you a garage in Toronto.
Yeah, I saw that. But the luxury market, the super luxury market, I have friends that sell in that market. They're seeing similar to what we're seeing in the lower price points, just not as crazy. So, yeah.
Okay, Jeb, we're going to open up the questions here, live questions here on YouTube. Okay, guys, start rolling out your questions. If you want to know something or anything about California when it comes to real estate, we are watching trends in the housing market. Remember, this is not Mike in the Night. This is Trends in the House. And we will, anything housing, brokerage related, start rolling out your questions. We got a question here already from Liberty Returns. Mike Martins, ask him if he knows why Utah home prices are rising so fast while wages are not catching up.
I can't speak for Utah, but what I can tell you is that it's no different than Boise, Idaho, this whole frenzy in their market, and everybody hates Californians because we're all, people are moving out of state and driving up the prices in other areas.
Yeah, and the guys, let's not just blame the Californians, because a lot of people from Washington State that are mass exodusing to Utah and stuff, and also Reno, things turned off. It says it's connected. I don't know. We're getting some internet issues here. I'm not sure why. It's probably because I think I got to pay $2,000 for my internet for it to work right here. Because everything's 100 times the price in Canada, right? Okay, people are saying we're lagging. Okay.
You're better now.
Are there any cheap areas in California for us poor people?
What do you mean by cheap?
This is a question from New Zealand.
It depends on what is cheap. In California, we talked about it earlier, the median home price is $715. Median is kind of a skewed number. It's, because it's the median. But in Orange County, the median home price, I think at the home, it's like $800,000-900,000 grand. So no, I mean, there's not really any cheap areas. I mean, I think I told you earlier, in where I am in Huntington Beach in Orange County, 750,000 gets you 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the property needs some work, probably a lot of work at that. A lot of the people that can't afford in our markets are now moving inland a little bit, so to counties like Riverside County, San Bernardino County,
yeah.
And even then, those properties, those markets are as crazy as where I am, because now, the people that would have never moved to those areas before because it would have taken them so long to commute to work, they no longer have to commute. So they can consider moving to some of these areas where it's more affordable. So those areas are the prices are going up there faster than they are here because, you've just got more influx of buyers looking to get out.
Okay, we got a question from lots of New Zealand questions here from Ralphie from New Zealand saying, are you seeing many houses? So this is a trend that's happening right now in New Zealand, okay? Where their houses they're selling, sold listings, and they're not showing the selling price, and it just says to be determined. Even several months later, it's a new trend in New Zealand where we don't even know what the selling price is ever. Is that happening?
No. So our multiple listing service, where basically everything's documented, if you will, And our tax records are public records. So, we can see what a property sells for. It's reported on the MLS, the multiple listing service, so we can see what they're sold for. And even if it's an off market sell and it doesn't record, we can go pull property tax on it and see, essentially where it sold.
Wow. In countries like, again, Australia and New Zealand, it's like a major mystery. Like, it's like they don't want to release the information. Like, it's almost like it's like you're going against you're creating treason or something. And I'm not kidding, Jeb. This is how tyrannical it is for real estate in the Commonwealth. Okay, this is a good one. This is from Liberty Returns. Mike Martins, will you ask him what's the best way to find foreclosures or bank-owned disclosed homes?
At the moment, there are none, right? Because there's a moratorium through the end of the year. Traditionally what happens is, as somebody that sold these for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, I was an approved broker with Wells Fargo, Bank of America back in the day. I got to sell these. Every single one of these goes on the MLS, the multiple listing service, so everybody can see it, if you will. The other way you can get them is to show up at the courthouse, which is essentially how the banks get the properties back to start with, right? They have to show up at the courthouse on the day, that they're sold, if you will. And that's how people buy foreclosures here in the state of California. If you don't get them there, and then you're waiting for them to come on the market. And the only way you're getting a quote unquote deal on these properties is if you're buying them at the courthouse. Requires cash. So you're having to come up with this money up front.
So you got to come with a paper bag filled to the brim with $100 bills.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah, but once it makes its way to the market, in most cases, it's selling pretty close to market value. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you're likely not getting a deal on it.
Mitch Madden is out of Oregon and is saying, housing here in Oregon coast is booming with rising prices, low inventory, quick sales, etc. Lived through many of the cycles, so nothing surprises me. Things will change as always. So that's Mitch Madden. He's been on the channel a few times discussing the what's happening in the Oregon coast. And it's the same pattern going. Okay, we got Stephanie from Florida saying a 2-bedroom apartment in she's from Florida, but she's saying a 2-bedroom apartment in Orange County, California. I used to pay 20 years ago was $1,299. The same apartment is now $2,400, not worth the 900 square foot apartment.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's another problem that you have, right? Is that rents are getting close to what it costs on a mortgage, especially with the rates being as low as they are in some cases, especially if you have a down payment. So, and with the tax breaks, the mortgage deductions, the interest write-offs, all of that stuff, depending on what you were paying in rent, it makes sense to buy a property. And so you've got renters that are tired of throwing money away and now wanting to own property. So that just adds more buyers to the frenzy.
I got a question from our Russian counterpart here, Petrov, who's watching us in St. Petersburg. He wants you to comment on the vans and people sleeping in vehicles. Do you notice it a lot?
Yeah. I'm in Huntington Beach, and we're a beach city. And again, we're in Orange County, just south of LA, north of San Diego. And yeah, you see, I go to the gym early in the morning. I'm an early riser, so I drive down Pacific Coast Highway to my gym at 4:30 in the morning. And there's vans lined up, people, tents on the sidewalk. Yeah, it's a real thing. So people are sleeping in their cars. And I know at one point Walmart was kind of a supporter of people sleeping in RVs and cars and vans and what have you. I think that's still a thing. I don't go by Walmart, so I don't really know, because I don't frequent the parking lot, so to speak.
Come on!
In the morning. Not because I'm against Walmart, just out of my way. So but it is a thing. People are sleeping in their cars, and more so in LA and some of these bigger cities where affordability is even more of an issue. But yeah. It's happening.
We got Jem from Tokyo, Japan asking, I was offered a job teaching in California, Japanese, in a private school starting in March of next year. Is it easy to find rental accommodation to get started, or should I look to buy a place outright?
I don't know where he's looking, but no, you can find rentals. But I would tell you that the rental market, depending on what you're looking for, is as hot as the housing market, right? It's a lot of people are looking to lease nice properties.
Yeah.
Nice can mean different things to different people, but yeah, no,
Jeb,
you can definitely find something though.
are they bidding up rentals there? Because there's an app now where they're bidding up rentals. I think that's what she's asking there. She's kind of wording it.
So it's funny that you asked that. I never heard of this so much, really ever. People, put a lease on, you'd get a couple people, maybe somebody pays, willing to pay money up front or whatever. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that they put in an application for a rental, and there were multiple people that put in applications for a rental. They actually were willing to pay $200 more per month, and they were willing to pay 6 months up front to get the rental. Somebody said that they would match the 200 up front, and they would pay 2 years up front.
See,
and I forget what the rental amount was, but it ended up a check over $100,000 that the tenant was wrote to get the rental.
Wow.
And this was just a conversation I had less than a week ago.
Yeah. So, and bidding wars on rentals has been a big thing up here. And in Ireland, it's been a big deal too. A lot of Irish people have been basically rented out of Dublin. There's an article about it where the Irish proper had to move to like middle Ireland because they couldn't afford to live in Dublin. Yeah, and a lot of employers in Dublin have messaged me saying, we can't get the talent because the talent can't afford to work in Dublin. So we have to relocate our companies into the country to be able to get the talent we need. So. Wow. Yeah, that's how bad it's becoming. Okay, let's see if we got more. Okay, what's going on here? So we're getting connectivity issues. Okay, there's some people watching the stream from the beginning. Yeah, there's no voice on Jeb. Yeah, I know. For the first minute and a half, there's people already commenting that, because some people watch the stream sometimes from the beginning.
Got it.
And I'm watching it. I'm reading comments in here on other platforms here real quick here. I can't even read that one. That's not even in English. It's not even Spanish or Portuguese. I speak those 3 languages, Jeb.
Hey, all the better, man. You do well here in California.
Oh yeah, that's I told you about my trying to move to America story. Okay. We got someone says rentals are getting bid up here in Orlando, Florida. 6 to 7 people are looking at the same apartment. It's crazy. So rental bidding it's gonna cross America eventually. Metal Gear Mark III wants to ask, does Jeb own any cryptocurrency?
I do not. No.
What?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to tip you?
Yeah, I have money invested in the market.
Okay.
I'm an equities guy. Okay. But yeah, no crypto, man.
Okay. Let me ask here. 6 months. Some people are saying 6 months up front is insane.
Yeah. How about the year and a half or 2 years or whatever it was?
Yeah. I'm just going over the comments here. Rentals are too expensive, throwing your money away. Yes, Jeb, what are you renting versus owning? Give us your spiel. Renting versus owning. Let's say you got a median income, you're above average wage earner. You're looking to do some work or a project down there. You got 2 to 3, maybe 4 years for the project. What would you do, Jeb? You got a different, a decent beacon score. Do you rent for 4 years or own?
Tough question. I think long term you own, right? I mean, owners have a 44 time greater wealth than a renter. Yeah. It's proven, just in, it's been proven over time. So I say owning is always better. My whole thing with right now is that if you can get into a house, I've been telling people this, I'm not here, I don't do YouTube videos to sell people, to tell somebody to buy. Everybody's like, oh, Jeb, you only benefit from telling. No, I'm going to be successful regardless of the market.
Yeah.
And that's not a cocky statement. That's what's going to happen, right? Yeah. I'm either going to help people sell or help people buy. And it makes no difference to me whether you do either. But if you're planning on buying a house, the payment makes sense. It's a reasonable payment. You're not stretching yourself. And you see yourself living in that property for say 5-7 years, I think it's a good time to buy.
Okay.
If you think you're going to buy a property and sell it in 2 years and take that money and buy something bigger, may not be the time to do it. You might be able to do that, but I wouldn't be taking that chance right now. And not because I see some huge crash coming. it's hard to tell people what's going to happen in 2 years right now, just because there's been a lot of stimulus pumped into the economy. There's going to be more stimulus pumped into the economy. And, it's hard to see how that all plays out at the end of the day. I think if the presidency stays the same, I think you see 4 years of similar policies, similar housing, similar stock market, similar whatever. If you don't, you might see some changes in some of that could affect all of it.
Right.
But even then, I don't see a crash coming.
Okay.
And Mike, I might need to grab a charger for my computer here if we stay on longer. I got a red bar up here.
How much you at?
It's not telling me. Just gives me a red.
All right, let's go real quick. Let's get personal with Jeb. Jeb,
I got
how can
11%.
we contact? Huh?
11%. I'm
okay,
good.
You're good.
11%.
Let me ask you, Jeb, how could people contact you if they're looking? Because I got a lot of people here messaging me from New Zealand, from Australia, and from all the different types of places that have the California on the mind or California dreaming. Yeah. How could people contact you? I already got your information there. It's jebsmith.net.
Yeah, that's my website. My email is the best way to. I mean, and when I respond on email, you'll clearly have all my information. But it's my first name at jebsmith.net. So Jeb at jebsmith.net is my email. On YouTube, I'm active in talking to people in dialogue. Good. On comments. I encourage people to comment. Right, I don't know everything. I want to hear people's different opinions, and especially markets like New Zealand and Canada and these other markets, I have no knowledge of.
I'll make it plain and simple in one sentence. 24 years to afford to put down a down payment on a home.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's phenomenal, Jeb. If you ever want to dabble in conversation with others, when you talk about real estate, hey, just say, I just talked from this bloke from Canada, and he was telling me it costs this much and that, and they'll be like, yeah, it's crazy. People can't even live up there. It's so bad, Jeb. And I'm not trying to put frosting or making it all, firecrackers and all kinds of joy and all kinds of big news. No, it's huge. It's so bad here that affordability levels, it's pushing so many people stateside, and we're getting a massive brain drain from Canada. So our good doctors, our nurses, our pediatrics, everybody that's good at something or it's important to our infrastructure, we are losing to America. Right. And we're losing in huge numbers because they can't afford to live in Canada. Imagine being a doctor with a 6-figure income and you can't afford to live in your own city.
No, I mean it's happening here in California as well. It's the high figure incomes are getting taxed, and I saw an article today. I forget what it was, but on some potential tax policies, if of one of the potential candidates for presidency, that was like a 64% tax if you made more than $5 million a year, and I was like, what? So again, it's who knows? I mean, it's just. It mismanaged money everywhere, and they make it up in raising taxes. So,
okay, well, let's get a little personal with Jeb. We almost reached 200 people watching, and then we got flatlined a bit here with YouTube or with the algorithm here. Okay, let's get personal with Jeb. What's your favorite sport?
At the moment, well, it'd be college basketball.
Yeah, NCAA, right?
Yep.
What's your team?
Tar Heels. I'm in North Carolina.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Okay, so. I like St. John's and Hurricanes.
Miami.
Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite sport to play?
Golf.
I knew you were going to say golf. I knew because everybody plays golf on here. I don't know why, but everybody plays golf.
It's golf's my sport. I'm out there a couple times a week. So. Okay,
favorite genre of music?
At the moment, country. I listen to everything, but yeah, country probably.
Okay, country. Favorite travel destination before COVID? Like, if you could leave the country, what's your favorite travel destination?
I would say something. I mean, favorite is somewhere that I could go within a couple of hours. So I would say Cabo or somewhere in Mexico that has a beach. I like beaches. I like to sit on a beach with a drink. And relax. That's my go-to. But I mean, I love Europe. I love, I've been to Dubai. I've been all over the place, and I love all those cities. But I like quick trips. So
good. I was gonna ask favorite car to drive and to fantasize.
Fantasize. I would say probably maybe a white Ferrari.
Really?
You don't see white very often.
Are we looking at
you
an older
probably
Ferrari?
did in Miami, huh?
Older Ferrari or something newer?
No, newer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I figure
Like
you for a
like 430
Testarossa.
or yeah, now like a 430 or something.
Okay.
I mean, they make better ones now, but and to drive around, I mean, I drive an SUV, so that would be my go-to. I got 3 kids, so
Oh yeah,
got to put them somewhere.
that's good. That's good. All right, I'm going through here. We've been talking for an hour and 6 minutes, Jeb.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're on trends in the housing market. This is episode. What episode is this? I don't even remember. 228.
228, man.
We've been
Nice.
connecting the dots across the Commonwealth, Jeb. You have no idea how bad it's been. Like, I'm not trying to sell you a sob story, but it's been really bad here when it comes to anything.
Yeah, the affordability sounds like a big problem.
Major issue. And when it's 18 to 24 times your annual income, it's tough. It's tough.
No,
And
for
prices
sure.
are still going through the roof here in some cities. And we just don't have any grasp.
No, understood.
Any big plans for the channel? When am I coming on your show?
I haven't really done any guest outside of just my lender talking about just loans. So no, I was trying to build it out, but yeah, we can definitely do something, man.
Oh, we have to, man. We got to get your channel. The reason why I want your channel to grow is because I really want people to get your information, because your information is very important. And
appreciate that.
it explains a lot of important. See, because I think that we missed this in the beginning of the first minute of the show because people were complaining they couldn't hear. So I don't know what happened, but the audio came on for some reason. But the audio was off on your side. But I was telling people earlier that basically that Jeb actually creates informational videos in a way so people could understand what they're getting themselves into. Because remember, guys, housing is one of the most important investments you'll ever make in your life. And you don't want to play around with that. You want to make sure you have someone good, one of the good guys on your team, to make sure they're looking out for you and your personal interests of you and your family.
No, and I appreciate that. And as I mentioned in the beginning, and I don't know if that part got cut off, but the goal with the channel initially was just to provide answers to common questions that I get, because I get the same questions more or less all the time, whether it's talking about tax exchange, selling a property or commission or whatever it is. And so the goal was just to create information to provide to people. And then it kind of got this, started moving and what have you. And now it's becoming fun because I'm able to reach out to a lot of people, provide a lot of information. And my goal has always been to educate, to guide people through a difficult process, to make it simple, not to be salesy, not to try to persuade somebody to do something, but really to provide information. And I would tell you that I probably get 5 to 10 people reaching out to me a week that send me emails, and I respond to every single one of these people.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Absolutely. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right, guys, that is Jeb Smith from California on the show. Man, it was really good talking to him, getting an insight on what's happening. Sorry, guys, our internet is absolutely crap tonight. I don't think it's I don't know what's happening, but it could be the allocation of, buffer. Guys, refresh. Everybody, refresh. Let's go refresh. Woo! Sorry about the first minute and a half. I don't know what was happening. Yeah, Ralphie from New Zealand is saying, nice guest. Yeah, round of applause for Jeb. Oh yeah, round of applause. Let's plug this thing right here. Let's go to article scan here, please. Thank you. There he is, Jeb Smith. New videos weekly, and a lot of the stuff he answers here about FHA loans. This one especially, I should have asked him about this. Beware of the 1.99% 30-year fixed. Watch out for those ones. Those are like those the jumbo loans and all this crap. You got to watch out for a lot of the fine print you're signing. Housing crash not likely. He did a few live streams. Hopefully he could do some more. So his channel's doing great, guys. Let's get him up to 10,000 subscribers. There's enough people watching this here. He's one of the good guys, so we want to support the good guys. Here is Jeb Smith. I'm going to give you Jeb Smith's link right here. I want you to go over right now respectfully to go and subscribe to his channel right now. And I appreciate that very much. There's enough of us that are going to watch this on replay that could easily get this guy over 10K. And he deserves it. Deserves it. Okay. Anyways, guys, middle channel plug here. Mid show. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders. We got, let's open this up. I think we got this one. Yeah, Mike in the Night. No more physical ID. That's going to be a big deal. Canada, it looks like is abolishing all physical ID, and they're going to go with a phone. There you go. And guys, don't forget to trends in the housing market next week. Steve Soretsky is going to make an appearance. Yeah. Steve Soretsky's going to make an appearance essay. He said he's going to come on. He apologized for what happened and stuff. It's fine. People live lives. We were supposed to get Michael Invests on in the second hour. He had to go to work. It's okay. It's life. And don't forget to set your reminders for the Mike in the Night Halloween. I want people to call in with a 10-minute story. Everybody. Yeah, guys, PayPal added a Bitcoin support. Guys, if you want to send me anything on PayPal, it's MikeMartins1980@gmail.com. That's a tip jar. MikeMartins1980. You can't miss me. Anyways, this is it right here, guys. This is the link to next week's Halloween show. Okay, it's going to be in 9 days. I know it's down the road, but I want everyone to call in with a 10 to 15 minute story of something that freaked you right out or something you can't explain, because I want to bring that up. I want to get a spooky Halloween this Halloween on Mike in the Night, and there was our guest Jeb Smith. All right, let's see who's out there available to come on Trends in the Housing Market. Like I said, our second our second guest, our economist from Australia, got called into something last minute, so he apologized to me. So Amy is saying our reminders are on. Thank you very much. Fruity Loops says, send Mike some Bitcoins. Heartsweet saying, matter, yes, true. Just saying about the sport, though. Sorry, Mike. This Christian doesn't do Halloween. Jay Borg in the house. Low Roller saying, did you know President debate tonight? I don't even follow that, man. It's like what do you call that? Reality TV? Reality television? I don't know. It's like, all right. You know who I want to talk to? Do you know who I want to get on the show? That either I miss his call or he calls me or I call him and he doesn't answer. I want to get what's his name on the show. Where is it here? Wow, did he get lost in my Rolodex here? There he is. Let's see if he picks up. Come on. You know I'm trying to get on the show, guys? We haven't had Steve on the show in a while. And I wanted to reach out to him to see what he's up to. Yeah, Steve, turn on your Skype if you're listening to us. Turn on your Skype, especially if you're driving on a crowded freeway, so we can talk to you. All right. Yeah, so our second caller, our second guest didn't come on, so we're going to find somebody to come on last minute here. Who can we find out? Who wants to come on? Who can we get on last minute, man? Evan is off. I don't see nobody's on Skype tonight. Like, where's everybody at? Wow, is there anybody that wants to call in tonight to Trends in the Housing Market, guys? If not, I'll just go over a bit of news here. Let's go over a bit of news then. That's what we'll do. All right. All right, let's get into some Canadian real estate. We didn't cover anything from Canada. Fruity Loops wants to come on. Go ahead and call me. Add me on Skype, Mike Martins1980, if you want to come on the show and tell us your housing discussion in your neck of the woods. Oh, that's Ralphie. Yo, Ralphie, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I thought I'd save the bell for you. You're looking for guests, right?
No, I'm just looking to see. Our second guest couldn't make it on. So,
no, that's cool.
Yeah, our second guest got
Jeb Smith was a good guest, eh?
Oh, Jeb Smith's the best, man.
Hey, let's talk housing. So, if you don't believe me, I was talking about the comments, how a lot of housing here, they're not showing the sell price. If you don't believe me, just check out homes.co.nz. But yeah, and the other trend I saw, and I just want to get your feedback. So there's a lot of we've got the Tamaki Regeneration Housing Plan, which is part of Kiwi Build.
Yeah, okay. Phil Tyford and Jacinta Ardern were going to roll that out 4 years ago to build 100,000 homes. They ended up building 13 of them.
Yeah, and they were also talking about affordable pricing that was meant to be 300 to 400,000 was meant to be the affordable price.
Right.
And they were trumpeting that and saying, this is what we're going to do for Kiwis. But yeah, further down the line, the affordable Kiwi builds are actually averaged about 700,000, not 300.
700. So basically, is that for?
This is
because a lot of the properties I was
for,
looking in Auckland, and I was looking. I think it was in Welland. I was looking in different parts of New Zealand. Okay, and
yeah.
I didn't see anything under 700 grand.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's no longer affordable. But I noticed this when I was getting out my mortgage, right? I actually paid close attention to my banker who was setting up the agreement. They've got a field on their computer that they type in. The field was called new money, and that's where you type in the loan amount. So out of thin air, they create new money, new currency, and that goes into the economic system
right.
simply by taking out a mortgage.
Right.
Right? It's just digits on a computer. And, but yeah, so I think what I'm saying is I don't think housing will ever go down, because what's happening is Jeb Smith, as Jeb Smith was saying,
yeah.
as equity builds on their housing, that just goes into the next house and the next house and so forth. And that's why I don't know. Do you know much about Core Logistics, the actual company? Do you know much about their background? I just want to know.
Call Logistics?
Core Logistics.
Oh, CoreLogic.
Yeah, CoreLogic, who do the estimates. I just want to pick your brain. Do you actually know about that company?
No, tell us.
It seems. No. I just want to know because I heard Jeb Smith talk about it, and he's overseas. But we've got the same company here in New Zealand creating the estimates. I'm just wondering if it's all linked.
They probably are internationally twined somehow. I don't think. I'm not thinking it's. It could be a shot in the dark that they could have the same names. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, because if I log into my bank account and I see my house estimate, it always says it's by Core Logistics. And
yes.
So I just want to know.
CoreLogic.
CoreLogic, yeah.
Okay. Now I know what. Yes, CoreLogic does work in different boards in different housing regions across the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Because CoreLogic does research in Canada. CoreLogic does research in the UK. I've read CoreLogic articles from London. I've read CoreLogic articles from Christchurch. I've read all kinds of different stuff from different parts of the Commonwealth. Yes. Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to piece it all together because as a buyer, obviously traditionally, a couple of years back, for me as a buyer when I was looking, I would look at CoreLogic's estimates. I would look at recent selling pricings and all that. But now it's becoming more and more mystified because, as I mentioned before, if you go to homes.co.nz, latest sell pricings aren't even being shown.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. So latest sell pricings, so they're not. Why are they keeping it a secret? Is it like is the country going to go to war if people find out what housing is selling for? Like, are the Decepticons coming back to Earth to take it back? Like, what's going to happen?
I think I know why.
Okay.
And it's all about information is power, right?
Right.
So if the consumer doesn't have information, if the consumer can't, differentiate house A to house B, how it's gone up over the years, what's sold recently, then they're just going to go by emotion and go into that whole Hunger Games mode where you're just outbidding each other, whether it's buying housing or, like you say, now the new trend with rentals. It's that Hunger Games economy.
Wow. So New Zealand, I did a video, is transforming into a city of renters, and of the Commonwealth, believe it or not, New Zealand has more people sleeping in vehicles.
Well, yeah, I know.
And it's the smallest population of the Commonwealth.
I know a few people. There's been some articles on the news as well about that, where people are sleeping in vehicles. It's a real worry. So I don't know. I think it's just a bit of a Ponzi scheme, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So
And one other trend,
yeah, go.
that I noticed is, again, it's about a lack of information for consumers. So you've got a lot of new builds being coming up, and recently in listings you're just seeing drawings of plans. You're just seeing, buy from the plans, but you're not seeing. You just, like, if I'm looking at house listings, half of it's not even real. It's just drawings.
Woo!
It's just drawings. It's just like computer graphics and stuff like this, and I'm like, what's real anymore?
Yeah, it's this 4D and 5D dimension, and we're missing all of these parameters, and your mind can't even catch up with it anymore.
A good YouTuber to actually follow. Have you heard of Heiser Says? He's an architect from Australia.
Okay.
Have you heard of Heiser Says? Heiser Says.
Heiser Says. Oh, I know
Heiser
Heiser Says. I've seen a few of his videos. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's an architect in Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he warns people, never buy off the plan.
Yeah.
Never buy off the plan.
Yeah, I want to get that guy on trends in the housing market.
Yeah, you should. I think you two YouTubers would collab really well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I just want to remind people about this Ponzi scheme. When you take out a mortgage, that's how new currency is made. It's just digits on a computer. I literally, it boggled my mind when I was taking out a mortgage, where my banker typed the amount on the computer in a field called new money. It was actually titled new money, and that was it. And then obviously the roll-on effect is that new money goes into the system. Consumerism is encouraged, but then the price of your Big Mac has gone from $5 to $17. So
yeah,
it's all up. It only goes up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, that was my input. Hopefully that was enough for 10 minutes of fame.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Ralphie Co. New Zealand. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to his channel. Don't forget to leave your link, Ralphie, in the chat there so people could find you, eh?
Yeah, will do. And I've been plugging your channel. Thank you for calling me and asking me to be a subsidiary of your channel. I love your content, so it made my day.
Oh, no problem, buddy. This is good. This is good. Good collaboration across the world, because we need a good outlet in New Zealand. So when things get tagged differently, they get found differently, and they get found locally, right? So that's very important to get the word out right across the Commonwealth. And we got somebody in Darwin and along the Gold Coast in Australia too. And then we got somebody up in Ireland who's going to restream some of the Mike and the Knights.
But yeah, okay, awesome. Well, thanks for the time.
Yes, God bless. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, God bless.
All right. Bye. All right, guys, that was Ralphie Co. New Zealand. And lots of people here on the sidelines now. A lot of people waking up. I wonder, I'm just trying to see who is available for trends in the housing market. We already got our New Zealand caller in. Let's see if somebody from Canada wants to call in. Let's see if we could get somebody in from Canada. Anyone from Canada out there want to call into the show and give us a tip or two or tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods? I know we scheduled somebody to come in. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. But we'll fill the time in. We got roughly 35 minutes to go. Anybody from Canada? Now, let's call Lord Humongous. He's down in Colorado. Let's bug him. Let's see if he picks up. We got Living the Dream in the house. We got Heart Sweet in the house. We got Amy Burr in the house. We got Tig Nim in the house. We got Matthew Illoy in the house. Matthew says, I tried to get Heiza on. He didn't seem that interested. No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We'll build our platform. We'll end up getting out there sometime. Buddy sent me a message about me being stuck at 12,200 subscribers for 2.5 years. I remember being stuck at 12,200 subscribers for 2.5 years. Yeah, Lord is in California. Yeah, we got him last week on, and he couldn't. He talked for a bit. He was on the streets of LA. We got Mr. In Between is from Vancouver. Yo, Mr. In Between, can you call us on the show? Because I want to talk to you down in Vancouver and to find out what the heck's going on down there. I haven't heard from anyone in Vancouver in quite some time. Believe it or not. Even though the housing crisis is going nuts down there. All right, let's see if Mitch Madden picks up his phone. This is kind of funny. Trends in the housing market. Let's see who picks up their phones. All right. Let's see if Mitch picks up. Well, it's ringing. That's a good sign.
Mike, is that you?
Of course it is. Who the hell is this? Mitch, you there?
Yeah, Mike, let me kill this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do this.
He wants to kill the live stream so he doesn't double.
Okay, good. I'm on. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Tell us a story,
Okay.
buddy. Fill some time. What's going on?
Well, I was just watching a vlog yesterday from a guy up in Seattle, and he was talking about the police department, and he had I mentioned it in the comment section that normally the Seattle Police Department, which I can't remember how many employees work for the Seattle Police, but I think he said 1,200, but I can't remember. But normally in a month they lose on average 5 to 7 policemen. Last month, 39 policemen quit.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. Well, the cost of living in Seattle is through the roof.
Yes. Years ago, I knew a young couple that decided that they were both going to move up to Seattle. The gal was a waitress and the guy was a hairstylist, and they had it all figured out where they could move to Seattle, and they were selling their car because they said they didn't need a car there because Seattle had good public transportation. They were really excited about moving there. I wonder if they're still there and if they're still excited.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. We should get him on the show live.
Yeah, I enjoyed Jeb.
Jeb's amazing, dude.
Yeah, you know from chatting with me that I've been in real estate I bought my first house 44 years ago and bought a bunch of houses. Well, anyway, what I was thinking when he was tentatively predicting that real estate was probably going to continue to go sideways or continue to go up, I almost had to laugh because watching it all of these years, I have seen a cycle after cycle after cycle, but real estate never stays the same, and the cycles never exactly duplicate. So there is no way anyone could actually predict a year, 2 years, or 4 years in advance, especially the way things are right now about what's going to be happening in real estate or in any financial markets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough to find out to project anywhere from anywhere. Like, it's tough to project from Q1, Q2, 2021. You could kind of, I think after the election, maybe kind of gauge, because that's why I've been kind of hesitant to going back into the stock markets, because I'm really scared, because depending on the outcome, you might see the markets go nuts, might rally, the markets might go down. I'm really not in a position where I just don't want to lose 50 grand. You know what I'm saying, Mitch? So I kind of like on the sidelines, kind of waiting it out to see what's available, because right now it's very hard to forecast any 1-2 quarters down the road.
Yeah, if you're in equities, I don't know whether you're a day trader, a swing trader, or a buy and hold type of equities person.
I'm just
Uh,
I just make a few trades a day and that's it. I don't day trade like that, like on the buzzer there. I'm just this looks good. This went down. This got some equity. They're getting a loan. Hey, these guys are merging. That's what I've been doing for 10 years now.
Well, if you've been making a profit overall,
I have.
You're doing a lot better than most. Me, I have always, even when I had quite a bit of money that I wanted to put to work, I was always reluctant to get into equities because I know myself that when it comes to equities, I wouldn't have enough emotional control. I couldn't disconnect my emotions from the trades. And I know that I would end up losing. So I stayed away from it, just instinctively stayed away from equities.
Okay, we got Fly Pigs in the house saying, yes, they're destroying shops, stores, car dealerships, vandalizing everything, spray painting everything with spray paint, and burning cars in Portland.
Yes, and also I watched another vlog today of down in San Francisco. You may have heard about this, that they have a drugstores chain down here called Walgreens.
Yes, I used to own a business across the street from a Walgreens.
Okay. Anyway, the third Walgreens store in San Francisco proper just closed, and this vlog I watched today, they showed videos of these people coming into the store and just filling up bags and backpacks full of makeup and merchandise and vitamins and etc., and walking out of the store, and the employees would just stand there and watch, and they couldn't do anything about it. And the police, they didn't even bother calling the police, I guess. So anyway, they finally closed because they've got these theft gangs now that they're not breaking the windows out and looting. They're going in actual open stores and just taking what they want.
Wow. I know of a person I think it was in Portland like a few days ago that filled up an entire shopping cart and walked right out with it.
Yeah, they're doing that all over, and it's a different form of looting, and so far they're getting away with it in these democratically, liberal-run big cities.
Mm.
If they tried to do it where I live, the police would be called and they would be dealt with, just like in normal circumstances. If they get caught stealing, you have to pay a price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this damages, but what this does in the long run is the surrounding areas, like it just damages housing values. I think this is and you know what? It always goes to the flip side, and housing skyrockets. It's really weird, Well,
I think this is a temporary phenomenon, Mike. I don't know how long it could last. I didn't think this would even happen. Where the circumstances now. Jeb is down there in Orange County, Huntington Beach. The Newport Beach area. That area down there is super wealthy people that primarily live down there, and that's a conservative stronghold in California.
it is.
So it's a little bit different than the rest of the state and the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see any way that this can continue because of the affordability issues and the increasing homelessness. And once these forbearances and these eviction, mandates and all that stuff, no eviction, once all these things iron themselves out, there's going to be a winner and a loser in the end. And I don't think the people with the money are going to be the losers.
Okay. And, okay, Owen was messaging me earlier today. Let me just see. I got a lot of people messaging me from all over telling me that the volume was low on Jeb's video. Yeah, at the beginning, I don't know what happened. We lost, for some reason, we didn't have audio on him for about a minute in the beginning. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, you had audio, but I had to triple the volume in order just to barely hear him.
Oh, okay, but then it went okay after?
Yes, it clicked right in after a couple minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. I didn't touch anything. Everything went to... It could have been on his side, too, with his audio on his headset or something, or...
I was suspecting that it was on his side, but I'm not technically savvy.
Now, who knows? But at least we got it through, and he was a really good guest tonight. Our second guest, Michael Invests, got called into work to a 12-hour shift, so he apologized, and he's like, sorry, mate, I'm really sorry. I'm like, dude, it's okay. It's
Michael
life.
Invest?
Michael Invests. He's got a YouTube channel. He's picking up a lot of traction there in Australia, and he's discussing a lot of the stuff that's happening. I want to get Tommy Stacks on trends in the housing market because he has a lot of information on the whole the shoddy construction work that's been happening across Australia, and like fast builds and building these condos in a rush that are falling apart and tilting and evacuating people on Christmas Eve. He knows, he has a lot of inside information on that, so I really want to get Tommy Stacks on trends in the housing market, but he wants to come on Mike in the Night because he can't come on trends in the housing market on Wednesday because he's working, and so I really want him to come on trends in the housing market because he wants to talk real estate in depth of shoddy bad workmanship, which is really good. But I want to do it on the on the right channel, on the right side of the channel, right?
Well, if you think he's an important guest and you just want to devote an hour of the 3-hour Mike in the Night, I think most of your viewers would appreciate it, even though it would be a little bit out of context, Uh-huh. But this Mike's Stack. No, who's the guy that you mentioned
Tommy
first?
Stacks.
No, the other guy.
Tommy Stacks is the other guy. Is the guy that wants to come on and talk about all the stuff that's happening with the shoddy
the
builds.
first guy that couldn't make it tonight.
Michael Invests.
Where is Michael Invest located, and what is his area of expertise, or he likes to discuss?
Housing.
And where is he located? Where does he discuss the housing?
Sydney, Australia.
Well, that's an interesting topic. Australia is very interesting.
Oh yeah, we had a few weeks ago. We had Martin North on from Australia.
Yeah, I watched it. Very good, very good. Martin is good, really good.
Oh yeah, Martin North is like top tier. Everybody that comes on lately has been really top tier. We had Maneko 64. He came on Mike in the Night. He has to come on Mike in the Night because the time zone difference in England from London.
Yeah, he had to get up early.
Yeah.
I've been watching Maneko and Martin North for a long time. Both of them, they're both real good. And the self-anointed Bond King.
Oh, that guy's amazing. Stephen Van Meter.
I mean, that was one of the funnest vlogs I ever watched.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because he got a little bit toasted, drinking just a little bit. But he didn't go over the top, but he's actually funny, and he's a good sport, and he's smart, and he's a contrarian, and I really enjoyed him.
Yeah. And that's why we do that here on Trends in the Housing Market is like, I just try to get, and same thing with Mike in the Night, I try to get like-minded folks, but people that could, a lot of people that come down and be with us, and be able to ask them anything and nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And
Mike, what do you think's going to happen with the precious metals? You have any prediction?
I think they're going to pull back after the next election big time. Like big. You're going to see a huge pullback on the metals. I really do believe so. I do. I'm talking about market-wise. Intrinsic-wise, value is always going to be different. You know that. You know that, Mitch. You know that. Yeah, you're always going to have a difference whether you have it in your hand or you have a certificate, right? I think that the metal markets will pull back. I don't want them to. I believe that metal should be like the J market, the junior market, the junior gold market and silver market, and the junior miners market. I don't know. I just see them pulling back. I don't know, man. I just think I feel that all the time. And I've shorted gold quite a few times in the last 3 months, and I've been very successful.
I think for a long-term hold, if I wanted to get into the stock market, I would go all into metals, into the some of the majors and some of the minors. I would go to Sprott and do a lot of research, and I think that there's a lot of money to be made over the next 5 years, but short term, I can't. There's no way to know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
short term, it's not. No, a lot of those blue chips and stuff, they're good stuff. Long term, put your money in, go to sleep, leave it alone. Eventually, things will roll over and stuff. Especially with good, you got a lot of good stocks paying out decent dividends and stuff. That's great. But for short term, man, I don't know, man. Hey guys, this is the Mike in the Night T-shirt. So you guys can see that? It's a little bit of green there from the green screen. But look, it even has linked image cannot be found. That's the original one because they're making fake ones in China, so don't buy them. You can get it on Teespring. There it is, the back right there. It's got the Merit Toys and Games. All kinds of Mike Martins all over pictures. Look at that. I'll probably wear this to work tomorrow. Who cares, man? But anyways, yeah. New Mike in the Night t-shirt arrived, and it looks really good. If you guys want to pick one up. Mike all over. And we got the Dirt Bike t-shirt showing up next week. Hopefully that one's going to look really good too. Mitch, you got to go over and pick up something and wear it while you're watching the show from the Teespring store once in a while, you know?
Well, I keep wanting to send you all my loonies that I've collected over the years, but I've never gone down to. I don't have a lot, you know, but it was enough to get a few cups down there at Timmy Hortons or whatever.
Woo!
But the thing is, I've never gone down to the post office and asked them how much it will cost me to mail it to Merit. You know.
No, don't worry about it. No, I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic.
Mike, have you ever? This is real estate, but we were on equities on the stock market. And I have you ever looked at a long-term graph of the stock market in general? You know, the S&P, the Dow. And all. Well, if you notice historically, it always tops and goes down, and then eventually goes back up. I mean, it looks like a sawtooth, but it's all very uneven. You know, if you look at a long-term graph, say 100 years. Yeah. And so we know that, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we know that the stock market cannot continue. The Fed and the Treasury cannot make illegal the stock market from ever going down. That people are in this feeling that it just can't go down, that they're going to stop it from going down. They're going to throw more money at it, and it's just going to keep going sideways and then up and then down and then up and up and up and up and up eventually. That's not going to happen. So anyway, when the stock market takes a big dive, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to be big. And but
what do you think? I know you can prop so much money into it, but the thing is, it's like a lot of the money they're borrowing is they're hedging against a total overly inflated. I honestly think that the markets right now are about 36% over inflated, about 36 to 45%. The stock market is 35 to 40% overinflated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm scared to jump in right now just before this election. You know, I just don't want to lose 50 large, like, in 2 days. Like, you know, like stupidity out of stupidity, right? So.
Another thing, as far as silver goes, we were talking about gold, but silver, California has just passed a law, as I understand it, that any new home that's built there now has to have a solar system. Mm-hmm. And California has 40 million people. I mean, that's as big as a lot of countries. It's bigger than Canada.
Dude, California's GDP is bigger than Australia.
Right. And also, they're going to try to eliminate the internal combustion engine and make. Anyway, what I'm getting at is this is going to be happening in many parts of the world, and all of these things take a disproportionate amount of silver, and right now they have to dig up, I think, twice as much earth on average to get 1 ounce of silver that they did 10 years ago. Yeah. There's not a lot of great new discoveries going on. And most all the silver that's being mined right now is either used or purchased for investment. And a lot of it is used, and more than half of it is used and disposed of. It's just disposable. And so my point is that the long-term prospects for silver, even without some type of a disaster that would make people want to, investors go into silver, even with that happening, the prospects for higher silver prices, in my opinion, are very good because of the supply demand. Not on investing, just on actual use. Silver has 10,000 different uses right now, and they're finding new uses for it every day. The only commodity that has more uses than silver is crude oil, which has about 30,000 uses.
Gold is they purposely don't want to find uses for it because they don't want to sacrifice it. To make a phone or something, you know what I mean, right?
Oh God, you don't want to dispose of gold.
No,
that's been the foundation for that, along with silver in some cultures, has been the foundation for money for thousands of years. But right now, people seem to believe that you can just shake a money tree, and that and then you can buy stuff with whatever falls off out of the tree. And so far, it's been working, but I don't know how long it continue to work. People have to actually manufacture things, and these other countries that have been giving us real goods in trade for paper IOUs are getting damn tired of it, and I don't see this lasting for too much longer, our current system.
Well, I think what's going to prop the U.S. dollar in the next few quarters is, one, a lot of currencies are going to fall to it, are just going to fall. And not because the U.S. dollar is going to gain strength, but I believe that the other currencies will fall to it, and you'll see a lot of citizens buying up American currency. Like, I buy my American currency every, bi-weekly. I buy a little bit of American currency. But a lot of people, like in Australia, I know that I've spoken to, they buy American currency over silver and gold because they don't trust their own currency right now. And there's a lot of people that save in American currency. It's liquid. You can go anywhere to any bank. They'll accept it. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to exchange with, you know what I'm saying? So as much as the American dollar is being propped up, it is still the go-to currency across Europe. It is still the go-to currency across the Middle East. It is still the go-to currency across Africa. There's some African nations that only trade in U.S. dollars. They don't even trust their own currency. Like, you go to Zimbabwe, they prefer American dollars over their local currency.
Yeah, speaking of Africa, Nigeria is having a lot of problems. I guess the police fired on a bunch of protesters, and they were actually beating the crap out of them. And Nigeria has, I think, 200 million people. People don't realize how populated Nigeria. One of 53 African countries is that big. Just one. 200 million.
Yeah. Yep. That's a lot of people, man. Let me check here. I'm looking at the comments as you're talking here. Yeah, it's that's just me. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I think the American dollar, like, in my opinion, Mitch, is the sure thing when it comes to liquidity for people living in in other countries. That's all. In Argentina, they've banned people for buying more than $50 US a week. So you can't buy more than $50 at your local exchange anymore in Argentina.
Is that they're trying to get people to stay in their currency?
Yes, in the Argentinian peso. But what a lot of people don't know is that Argentina went through 3 full economic resets in the last 10 years. We're talking from zero, new currency, new print, from zero, 3 times in the last 10 years. They've restarted their economy, and they can't get it to work in Argentina. They're having such a tough time getting their economy to get off the ground.
Well, these currency controls, like you're saying, they have a $50 limit, what, per week or per day?
Week. And now in Chile, they want to pass a law that you're not allowed to exchange Chilean peso, or you're not allowed to accept U.S. dollars, only by tourists.
These are all symptoms of weakness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Brazil too, reals. A lot of people are switching over reals to U.S. dollars. Like I said, Mitch, as much as gold and silver is the currency of the world and everything, I get it. It is. It truly is. But in all fairness, the American dollar is the almighty when it comes to having what you call what do you call it when you have? Sorry, I got a head cold tonight. I'm trying my best to Mitch, but when it comes to not loyalty, but when it comes to faith in the system, everyone turns to the U.S. dollar. Like, think about it like this, Ben. Think about it like this. I got $500 US. I could pretty much go to any country in the world and spend that. People will accept it. Right? $500 Canadian, I'm lucky if anyone will even look at that currency.
Yeah, and in the Philippines, they really like fresh, crisp U.S. $100 bills.
Exactly. They prefer it over their own currency. A lot of countries prefer American currency over their own, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, gold and silver, yes, it's intrinsic. Yeah, it's real money. Yes. But in all fairness, realistically, $500 in gold in my pocket or $500 US dollars, I would prefer the 500 US because I know I could go anywhere and spend it. Even in Canada, somebody will take it legal tender.
Yes, but I think I mentioned to you before, if you're traveling internationally, it's much better to have a Canadian pin on your lapel or your hat or your bag than it is to have an American flag or whatever. They love Canadians internationally, but America has a lot of enemies.
Yeah. Yeah. And Metal Gear Mark III says you cannot divide gold. That's the thing with gold and silver. Gold and silver is to hedge against inflationary levels, and which is very good. And it's good if you're an investor to hedge against, to have maybe 3 to 10% of your portfolio gold and silver physical, which is nice to have because then it gives you the flexibility to hedge against any hyperinflationary circumstances. But American money, you go to Iceland, they expect they prefer American dollars. You go to like Greenland, Switzerland, it's all American. You know, the American is always Benjamins are always on the mind. You know what I'm saying, Mitch?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Iceland, you know, during the last economic meltdown in 2008, they actually jailed a bunch of bankers.
Yes, they did. They jailed
Iceland.
Bankers. And they jailed a bunch of politicians. And, yeah, they took over the police station and they started arresting people, period.
Yeah, and they need to do that in Canada, in Australia, in America, and New Zealand. That's what they need to do, is start going after, seriously stamping down on all this corruption.
Mm-hmm.
We've got plenty of it, and I know you guys do too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Aussies.
I'm reading the comments here. Yeah, the thing is, think of it, Mitch. You got an ounce of gold, $2,500. Like, I mean, what can you? I mean, there's only so much you could do with it. It's more, again, it's more of a hedge against. It's something that sits in your safe that hedges against the inflation. Period.
Yeah, it's unlikely that we'll ever see gold and silver coinage again ever used in day-to-day transactions. It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
But it is likely that there's going to be eventually, they might have another failed system after this one, international monetary system. But eventually there's got to be something solid that people have faith in backing the currency. And right now, when you're creating trillions and quadrillions of dollars in promises without much manufacturing, that people are going to eventually lose faith.
Right.
Because there's nothing backing it.
Okay,
Nothing.
but then we go back to asking the question, do you have more faith in the Swahili dollar or do you have more faith in the American dollar? So that's the key. People will lose faith to the Mexican peso before they lose faith to the American dollar. And so there's a lot of other empires that need to fall, right? You know what I'm trying to say, Mitch?
I just think, speaking of Mexico, I was in Mazatlan at Senor Frog's one night, drinking with my buddy, and we were having margaritas, and we were there for like 3 hours and eating and drinking, and we just got hammered. And it was right during that big inflation that they had in Mexico, where the peso went from 10 to the dollar to thousands. It was back in the late 80s.
I remember that. That's when they removed a couple of zeros off their dollars and everything went up like crazy.
Yeah, but anyway, we had we were ordering drinks and food for 3 hours, and we got the bill, and it was 100 and something thousand pesos. And we about shit our pants because we had just got there, and we weren't keeping up on current events. So, you know, we didn't have the internet or anything.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't believe that a bill for dinner and some drinks was 100 and something thousand. You know, we were thinking dollars, and we were trying to convert it and everything. And anyway, we determined that the waiter had cheated us because we were so drunk we couldn't add things up. We thought the waiters were cheating us, you know, because we were in Mexico, and we figured, well, they have a reputation, you know. We were used to Tijuana and Nogales and stuff.
Oh, down in Tijuana, baby, woo!
Yeah, I lived in Southern California, and my friends and family from Northern California would come to visit me in Southern California down in L.A., and they all wanted to go to two places. Every single visitor we had, Disneyland and Tijuana. So I went to Tijuana. In the 3 years I lived in Southern California, I was in Tijuana about 12 times. Just, you know, taking
Have you ever
friends and
been
family.
arrested in Tijuana?
No, but me and three of my friends got robbed, but I wouldn't want to tell that story on this channel.
Okay, fine. All right, Mitch, we're wrapping it up. It's 2 hours. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm so tired, buddy.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks. I enjoyed Jeb, and we'll see you Saturday for the big Mike and the Night show.
Mike and the Night's big, but the Saturday after for Halloween, I want you, Mitch, to call in with a 15 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes story that shook you, and it's unexplainable even to this day, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
I would just want to one final mention, the self-anointed Bond King that you had on. I think you had 350 viewers on average there when you reached your peak there on YouTube. I thought that was pretty good.
That's good, yeah. And CNN got, if you go to CNN when they're live with 3 million subscribers, they have 86 people watching.
Right. Yeah, you're doing way better than the so-called Cartoon Network or the big guys. Okay, good night, Mike,
God
and
bless
good night
you.
all. Okay, thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you,
Appreciate your show.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is Mitch Madden, a longtime real estate agent out of Portland, Oregon. Sorry, not Portland, but yeah, we had him on about the thing. All right, guys, before I go off, guys, don't forget to pick up, there's the Mike Martins t-shirt all over Mike Martins. This is what it looks like, guys. Let me put it on. If you guys want, I already sold 11 of these, but it says right there, linked image not found. That's the original one. For some reason, it says that. There's the back right there. There's the shop right there. It looks pretty cool if you guys want to pick it up. It's on Teespring. This is for hardcore Mike Martins channel fans that are out there all over the Commonwealth. I'm going to give you guys a link. There it is right there. And wait a minute. This is a different shirt because where's the Raven? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, the Raven's down here. There's the Raven right there. You see that? There's the Raven right there. Yeah, the Raven's right there. There's a bunch of cash over there. There it is right there, guys, if you want to pick it up. I'll give you guys a link to the shop. I'm going to make some more Raven mugs. People said they can't find them. No big deal. There it is right there. There's a Teespring store if you guys want to buy something. This dirt bike shirt's coming in. Everybody is talking about this dirt bike shirt. I already sold 11 of them. They're really nice. Look at them. That's a nice Mike Martins channel as a dirt bike shirt. Look at that. I got one for my son. That's an awesome shirt. Hopefully the images come on and saying image not available. Yeah. And yeah, I'll even make who wants an all over Raven shirt with ravens all over, black shirt? Let me know. I'll make you guys a Raven shirt if you want with ravens all over. And what else? Yeah, the Raven mug is right here. People say they can't find it. So there it is right there. There's a Raven mug. People say they can't find it. It's right there, man. Okay, guys, don't forget to set your reminders on for Mike in the Night this Saturday coming up. And trends in the housing market next week. Sorry, we got somebody calling in. I can't take your call right now. Sorry. I am wrapping it up. Who is calling? Who is this? Somebody is no mutual contacts. Who is AI? I think it's Fruity Loops Is that you, Fruity Loops? Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Trends in the Housing Market. We're going to have Steve Saretsky. We'll ask him a few questions. That's Fruity Loops. Yeah, Fruity Loops. Call me next time on... There it is right there. And guys, we got Mike in the Night Halloween special. I want everybody to call. I want Fruity Loops to call into this one. Here, let's take a quick call. Let's talk to Fruity Loops. Let's talk to Fruity Loops.
God.
Yeah, Fruity Loops. Call me next time. Fruity!
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. I got you on. I got to mute your.
I want Fruity Loops to call.
You're live.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
myself
thanks
at the.
for-
Yeah,
thanks for
sorry, I
having
called
me.
you unsuspectedly. Is
I'm one of your
everything okay
number
over there?
one, listeners now. Basically, I've just a long day of trading, and I'm watching just the intraday actions all the time.
Uh-huh.
The recovery, the stimulus, the nonstop bickering between the Senate and now you got the Russians and.
Yeah, it's politics. It's to me, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's I don't even care about it anymore. It's gotten to a point, even myself as an investor, I've gotten to a point where it's become a reality show, this crap.
Right. I know. You're 100% right when you said, don't put your money into it because you end up just throwing it in the basket and throwing it out. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the stimulus. Literally, it's a bailout because what they're doing is they're doing like what a pitcher does when he fakes like he's gonna throw and then tries to take you out on first base. It's a balking game,
Where are you calling from? Where are you?
Well, I'm actually in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm out here. I was actually one of the first persons who got COVID in New York City. I was I'm from New York City and I had gotten sick and nobody really believed it. And I convinced a bunch of traders we shorted. They shorted TLT. It's actually TLT is a bond inverted yield index one. And back then, it was like 50,000% move on the options on the call side. And that was back February into March. And when they finally dumped all this money into the market, I really was hesitant. I didn't think that the market would rally. So I ended up buying into it eventually, but not. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm not really. The stimulus, it should never existed. It's a smoky mirrors for the repo market back last year when the bonds were falling off the roof and the bonds were going to subprime rates. It
Right.
went to ridiculous numbers overnight. It went to 10%, and they had to basically dump about $7 trillion into the bond market.
Well, they had to do that because they had to push down the inversion in the yield curve, right?
But yeah, because there's no liquidity. There was
Right.
a liquidity crisis. And then, it basically is another excuse for the cartel, which is the Federal Reserve and the IMF.
Mhm.
And they're controlling the economy and they're running a madhouse. And everybody's just fallen to this, deceptive leadership. I mean, they wouldn't be meeting in back rooms. I've been saying this. I tried to warn people, but what they'll do is they try to gaslight you. And I've had to move away from these so-called companies that are really states and counties. They're nothing more than another company led by another president who's corrupt. They're all.
Well, you got too many layers of government in those big cities. You got 4 to 5 layers of government in any one of those major cities up there in the Northeast. And then you got red tape, bureaucracy, and you try to build a house, let's say in Massachusetts, you got to pay, I don't know how many city councilors you got to pay before you get a permit. It's crazy, man.
If you want to permit, right? If you want to be successful, you got to feed yourself into the system where they want to get paid on the back end. And every deal's got a front end and a back end, and it's if you want to be a good person, you don't get to the top.
Right.
If you're a bad person, they all are at the top. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are, they're going to be stuck in the country. Well, we're stuck in the country. Basically, yeah, we are all locked down. We can't leave, go internationally traveling because that's the name of the game.
Well, I
They
got
don't
some
want
good news. If you're in Canada, you could go to China.
Right. Yeah, we could go to China.
Yeah.
And be like Trump with his Chinese bank account. I
Right,
mean,
but
come
you know
on
what I'm
now.
saying, right? You can't come and
Yeah.
see me in Canada, but you could go
Yeah.
to China.
I have family in Canada. I haven't talked to them, see if they're able to go back and forth. But at the end of the day, we have a bunch of people who are projecting. It's psychological operation, and they're projecting their own devious acts of what they're doing. And if you can see what's going on and you tell other people, they say, "Oh, you're lying." No. Read the fine print. Read, a contract is a contract. And why do you think there's so much civil unrest, all over the world? And that's the name of the game. That's what they want. And then they're going to, the IMF and the big thing, the market right now is tanking overnight. I'm short on Zoom communications. I got a short and a long on Tesla right now.
Mm-hmm.
I got a decent position. But it's just to make my money back from when the last, smoky mirrors happened over the last few weeks. I mean, they're playing this game and people are losing a lot of money because, they think that the market's actually going to get some assistance and we're all going to be all right, But at the end of the day, we're not going to get no assistance till next year because they're going to wait for Biden to win. I never voted in my life. Okay, I get sickened by people saying, "Oh, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican." I'm not neither. I don't believe in any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm a libertarian, if anything. I believe, the dollar, it's manipulated. Whether it's the yuan in Japan, or any other currency, the euro was created just so that they can hold down the dollar because the dollar was going through a madhouse. And, when you see it in March, if you follow, the dollar was going through the roof. They have to create all these different manipulations to control the money. Otherwise, what do they have left? If they don't have a dollar, I mean, they basically been controlling it with, the oil and, they need to keep the dollar as the reserve.
Right.
I mean, but, at the end of the day, they're giving out money. Right, they want to give out loans, but they're going to crush the dollar so that they can keep getting cheap labor, and the deficit is going through the roof. They say, "Oh, we're going to lower the deficit." They're not doing anything. I mean, I was an investor in Trump hotel casinos. I lost $30,000-$40,000 back in 2010 when he stupid lies. I mean, the guy is a liar. If you think you got a degree from Trump University and you're still happy about it, and you paid $40,000 for a T-shirt. I mean, come on now. Come out of this, come out of the fantasy world and step into reality. We don't need these politicians. We don't need babysitters. We don't need these cops to come be headhunters, all right, because they want to tax us. And if we don't pay them the tax, they're going to come look for us. It's basically, that's what they're doing. I moved away from everything because I don't want to be working for nobody. Then when I work for my own company, I see what they do to these payroll people, people who are working on payroll. They just taxing them nonstop.
I haven't been on payroll in like 20 years, dude, and I'm 42.
Exactly. And it's sad because they take their checks, and they hold them like in an interest-free loan. At the end of the day, most of these people get huge refunds back, but why are they taking their money up front? Yeah. We're not in business to go to work, so we give out free interest-free loans and then wait, on hand and begging back for our money back. I mean, come on now. Stop taking the money from the people. Let them grow. They anytime the Federal Reserve wants money, they just add a couple digital zeros, right? Why do they want to go after the small guys? They want to Trump wants to take away the food stamps from the poor. Meanwhile, he's giving corporate welfare to the rich.
Yeah.
And you can't even convince these people what reality is. Everybody's living a fantasy. I mean, they're blind leading the blind, and it's been this way. That's why 2008 happened. right? I worked on Wall Street in 2008. I worked on both sides. I was an investment banker, and I worked in Lehman Brothers on the mortgage banking
Holy
side.
smokes! Hey, Fruity, let me ask you something. Is there any way we could have you, like, maybe we could do an independent video together, and we could break down. We could start something from, let's say, the build up to 2008, and then the bail-ins, and then we could go from the bail-ins to what happened on Wall Street and Main Street, and kind of break it down and kind of look at what happened with. We could break it all down and kind of see. Within like maybe a 30-minute video, we could kind of discuss and break down. Maybe you could run us through kind of.
Yeah,
And then maybe.
I tried writing a book about this back 2009, and New York gaslighted me. They were chasing me around. They were falsely arresting me. They said I did graffiti on walls. I never did any graffiti. I sued New York State. I didn't sue for money. I sued for reform. I sat in jail for 140 days because I couldn't post a $4,000 bail over a graffiti charge I didn't do.
Hold on, Fruity, you're breaking up badly. You're breaking up really bad. I don't know if you stepped outside.
No, I'm inside. I had tried doing videos in the past, and the system and what they try to do is gaslight. That's what it is. It's insanity. It's crazy, and people are driving off of frenzy and drama, and that's what America is. They're running the banking system like a cartel. They control every sector. They do it all. So when you have somebody like me who works on both sides,
Fruity, we can't hear you. You're breaking up really badly. We're getting a lot of static.
We can do that 30 minutes. I'll get back to you. I figured out this whole Skype thing. I didn't know how the Skype thing was working. And I know it works. It's great to talk to somebody. I found out over 1 year hyperinflation discussion. I've been on the hyperinflation. I've been on that for a while. We're creating a bubble on top of a bubble. We're at the same sales to price numbers as the last bubble. And, that's what it is. Indicators are showing that nobody really knows it. They just all say it's going to happen eventually. The market's down, 200-300 points right now, 200 points. Tomorrow's going to be a big red day.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big red day. I'm keeping an eye. I got my eye on a few stocks there. A couple of ones, the big losers I know are going to go down a few percentage points.
Exactly. What's also happening is I'm seeing a lot of CEOs are starting to liquidate their positions. Right? They get these companies and they issue themselves millions of shares for nothing. Right? They pay $50,000. They pay the tax on the shares, and they give themselves shares worth $200 million. DraftKings just issued himself $300 million of shares, and he liquidated it, sold it. So what they do is they just keep all the liquidity goes to them. They create these massive debt bubbles from offering shares, and the shares are dead, and then they put it out on the market and they sell it, and they basically walk away. They retire within a year of being a CEO, like the guy from Nicola, right? Trevor Horn, the guy who hit the CEO, he got $433 million. What was he? He was a promoter for a stock. That's what these CEOs are.
Fruity, let me call you back.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Let's call him back. I missed him there. He was saying something. I could barely hear him. Hold on. Let's call him back. Let's. We can't hear you, brother. Let's see if he picks up.
Hey.
Yeah. Sorry, we went into this really bad static, really bad, and we couldn't hear a damn word you were telling us.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're perfectly clear. You're clear as a whistle. Listen, let's do something. Let's do a collaboration together, maybe through the week. Tomorrow's Thursday. Friday afternoon, I don't know what your time, because the time difference is pretty gappy between us two. But if you want to sit down and maybe you know what, Fruity? Maybe we could sit down and talk about how you might see a play out of when the economy or when the poop hits the fan. Maybe you could play by play what you think will happen in what order, and kind of give us a visual. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a little quick before next time. I definitely, I'm 100%. Your channel is alive in my heart. I got the
Okay.
passion, the same eyes as you got. We're seeing through the same glasses. But the thing is, the market's already ready to top. It's top, right? It's a double top. It's a triple top. If you look at it over a little bit longer than March, and then you had the recent sell-off and another sell-off after a double V. Right? It was a V, and then it turned into a double V, which is W. So we're getting a nice pull down right now off the top. So we'll go into it. I mean, it's happening already. I mean, you got companies trading at the same price to sales earnings ratios as they was in the last bubble. So the bubble's happening. You got Peloton, crazy valuations. It's getting downgraded. Banks are getting downgraded. Zoom is totally overvalued. I mean, they're trading at what the company would have to make it in 100 years to give you a correct valuation of what it's really worth. So again, I just put it out there. I get to the whole synopsis of what's going on, the summaries and the details, and the fine print.
Are you available Friday night?
Of course, I'm always here. I'm always looking for a good, a good person, try to get myself or my research out there. But I play, I play my own hands, and like I said, I have my bets on the shorts of these overvaluations. I already put myself in. I'm going to be throwing out of gold. I think with this market coming down, like you said, the shorts on the gold is going to work. So I got gold I'm holding on to over the last few days, and it worked out well. I think it took 10%, nothing too big. It's only a hedge on the position, but yeah. So the Friday will be great. We'll see how things go. We're not going to get stimulus. It's all smoke and mirrors, but we'll see if this thing really sells off on Friday. Friday, if it sells off, we're going to have a big acceleration on the downside. The momentum's going to pick up here, and it can go really fast. So we'd love to get the whole thing on Friday would be great. Yeah, we could stay in touch. I figured out how to do this Skype thing. It'd be great. I love to track. I love watching. Like I said, we have the same glasses on. We're seeing the same, perception on this, and keep the vision going, and making people sure and ready. That's the biggest thing. I want to make you money. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines and watching everybody else make money. But sometimes, I do a good service. I give people value. I make people millions of dollars in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fruit Loops, Fruity, I'm going to let you go now. We'll organize this Friday. I'll give you a call sometime this Friday, and maybe we'll collaborate something together. Okay, buddy?
Thank you, sir.
God bless.
All right. Thank you.
All right, the very bad audio connection. When I call him one-on-one, I'm going to see if we could do some adjustments there so we could get a nice clear signal there. I'm going to add him to my favorites. This guy from New York, worked for Goldman Sachs, worked for everywhere on Wall Street, Wall Street, knows the, I guess he knows the, he just knows what's going on. And he watches this show, and I'm very flattered that someone that actually understands what's happening watches this show, and that means a lot to me. So that's Fruity Loops in the comments there. There he is. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Wow. So we got another, so I might do a Friday collab just to talk. Let him just talk. Let us explain it right from the beginning, right to the end. And maybe we'll kick off from 2008 and what wasn't fixed in 2008, what should have been fixed in 2008, and all the measures that were put in place, and then where we are now 12, 13 years later after the great financial crisis, and then kind of looking forward to what's going to happen after this election and where things are going to go and where stimulus is going to head. So we'll do that hopefully Friday. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your support. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and